Going live now. All right. Mute your mic. You have to mute your mic.
I did mute it. It's the first thing I did, so that wasn't a problem.
We're live on Clubhouse, and oh boy. We're live on Clubhouse. And if you'd like to join us. This is a continuation of our Freedom Week. Today is day 5, I think it is.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. You can have to.
I didn't know why.
So that there's 2 people in the Clubhouse room. We're on Clubhouse. Join us over there. Okay, let's just jump right into it to keep this as short as possible. So, this week, or for the past 4 days, 4-ish days, 5 days, we've been talking about a reclamation of our power and authority over our bodies, minds, and souls. And today we are with Kingston Arthur, who's trying to figure out our audiovisual sound quality. And our kids are also here with us. So we're just going to see how this goes. But we're going to be sharing our story. I call today Freedom Fighters because that's what we want to be. And that's what we want to invite you to be for yourself, your family, your community. So we're just going to share a little bit about our story. We don't have a script today. I didn't prepare him with any questions. So we're just gonna see how this goes. So Kingston, what is that sound? You're gonna have to. Yep. Okay. So Kingston, what was your? How would you describe? That's really distracting for me. I'm sorry. Yeah, just. How would you describe? He can still hear me. It's okay. Your life before learning about nutrition.
Painful.
Painful. How? And I say before learning about nutrition, but I mean like just before our journey and our health journey in general.
Yeah. So whenever we met, you thought I had swag, which I did. But you thought it was manifesting specifically in my walk. You thought I had a swagger. And turns out that my hip just really hurt. I had arthritis in my hip whenever I was young, and I just had gotten used to it.
Juvenile arthritis, which at that point I had never heard of.
Mm-hmm. And so I walked with a limp, and I didn't really know that I walked with a limp. And then I went gluten-free, and that's whenever I realized that my hip hurt because it stopped hurting. And I had more flexibility in my hip and more mobility, and it didn't hurt whenever I walked. And I lost that part of my swagger. Mm-hmm. But that was kind of the beginning of it. And since then, really, I've not really learned that much about nutrition formally. You've been learning a lot about nutrition. Mm-hmm. You've been teaching me a lot. And as I adapt, sometimes very reluctantly, what you are sharing as I take it and as I do it, I feel better.
Right.
My joints feel better. My knee feels better. My hips, I have more energy. Yeah.
Okay. So that's physically. What about like emotionally? This week we're talking about taking back our power, taking back our freedom, experiencing more freedom in body, mind, and soul.
Yeah. So a story there would be about sugar, which I love sugar.
I love sugar.
A lot. And I eat sugar a lot. I ate sugar a lot. Then I found out I was pre-diabetic. And that made me stop eating sugar, even though Crystal for a long time before them was telling me, hey, stop eating sugar. It's not good for you. And I just wouldn't listen. And then I did stop eating sugar. And because I was pre-diabetic and I was told if you don't stop, you're going to have diabetes. So I stopped, and I became a much more pleasant person to be around. I became a much more pleasant person to myself. I actually enjoyed being around myself more. It was kind of interesting how much sugar changed that. And then just even past that, cleaning up the diet even more, I feel like it is a lot easier for me to keep my emotions in check and not to have my emotions ruling me and dictating what I do.
Yeah. So you kind of touched on it, but like, what was your experience of your emotions when you were consuming a lot of sugar?
Oh,
Because when we met, you were drinking a lot of soda. You were
Oh yeah,
eating junk
every
food
day. Yeah,
every day.
I would take 2 pieces of bread and I'd put Nutella on both sides, and then I would put honey on it, and then I put honey nut Cheerios on it, and then put it together and then
You
eat it.
did do that.
Yeah, as a sandwich.
That was a thing.
I did that a few times a day in my dorm room.
I forgot about
That was a go-to snack. They had sodas, fountain sodas
right.
at the dorm that I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah. I mean, I used to do something I called going Super Saiyan. And it was especially if I had to like pull an all-nighter or something like that. I would take a 5 hour energy.
We did that together sometimes too.
Did I ever bring you into that?
You did, yeah.
Yeah, take a 5 hour energy. And then I get it. They also had like coffee like on tap all the time in college.
Mhm.
And so I would get a coffee and then they had like hot chocolate packets, which are nothing but sugar.
Sugar.
And I would put the hot chocolate packet inside of the coffee and be like, mocha, and go off of that and pull an all-nighter and was shaking.
And then poop everywhere the next day.
You just okay, that's
what that
all
does
right.
to you.
And so and
my emotions, to answer your question, I was I felt as though I was on a roller coaster, and I honestly just thought that was life, because that is how I lived my life. It wasn't like it started in college. Like all growing up, life was just a roller coaster. I would feel excited and happy, and then moments later I'd be angry, and then excited and happy, and then angry. And it was really only those two emotions. I'd either be happy or angry. And it was just, there wasn't really much of an in between. It was just a quick drop down and a quick boost up, and a quick drop down. So there wasn't really any evenness.
Yeah. And how did that impact your life?
Well, I thought I was
like
fine.
You were on a roller coaster.
I just thought it was life. So I had friends, but I wasn't always very nice to my friends, which is kind of sad to think about looking back. And they tolerated me. Maybe they had just their own emotional issues that made them accept my behavior whenever they shouldn't have. But at the time, I can't say that it really impacted me, because I didn't know anything else. But looking back, I can see, okay, it certainly was. I had unhealthy relationships, and I'm very good at, I would like basically manipulate people into staying in a relationship with me sometimes, and was very emotionally dependent upon other people because my emotions were so tumultuous.
Mm-hmm.
So
about that was like in high school. What about with like your marriage and kids?
Oh, well, you can attest to that since I'm married to you.
Well, yeah, but this is your story.
Yeah, it was very difficult for me to allow Crystal to feel her feelings. And really, I think that was projection, because it was difficult for me to allow me to feel my feelings. One thing that I believe my diet played a huge part of, and we didn't just clean up my diet; we did a lot of emotional work too. But I don't know. I'm very confident that the emotional work wouldn't have done nearly as much, if anything, without the diet in conjunction with it.
Well, maybe I just think at the speed that it did.
Yeah, right.
I think it just
Yeah, but it was difficult for me to let Crystal or the kids, or the closer you were to me, the more difficult it was for me to allow you to feel what it is that you needed to feel. And because I'm not feeling what I need to feel, so you can't either. And doing that emotional work and changing my diet and doing all that, it made it so that I started to be aware of my spectrum of emotions that I was feeling the whole time, but was unconsciously denying. And that just naturally led to more empathy, where I was able to be more empathetic and listen better. And it was just kind of like a natural thing. It wasn't something that I had to try really hard to do.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying, and what like, just since I am part of the story, what I experienced Was that like you said, it was you were happy or just like livid, like happy or like raging,
Hmm.
and you said you were denying the actual spectrum,
Hmm.
so you were suppressing the spectrum of emotions, fear, um, what sadness,
Yeah.
nervousness, and anxiety. You were
I genuinely did not think that I ever experienced anxiety.
right, yeah. Because I remember when we went to an integrative cardiologist because I was already about this life, so I was like, I didn't know as much as I knew now. As I didn't know that as much as I know now, but I was like, if you're gonna go to a doctor and we're gonna pay a bunch of money, then it's gonna be like somebody
Is
who,
that when I was having chest stuff?
yeah, that's my
Yeah.
point. You were having chest pains, and his family history has a lot of heart disease,
Hmm.
a lot of heart attacks and heart disease. And so I was so afraid that I was just sure that it was a heart condition at first. But we had gone to a chiropractor, a very awesome chiropractor here in St. Louis, and she brought up that she thought, have you been experiencing any stress? Could it be anxiety related? And we were just like, no, he has a family history of heart like stuff like that has. So we went to an integrative cardiologist. He ran like tests and stuff, and he was like, his heart is perfectly healthy. And so that was one of the first times that we really had to face that, like, your emotions were
Hmm.
really impacting you. And that was like the second time that you had heart pains. The first time we went to urgent care, and then there was nothing. It was like we thought, oh, maybe it was breathing. Remember, they gave you like an
Oh, that
inhaler.
was, yeah, that was breathing, but there was also something there with my lungs.
Yeah, but I
What
think it
was it?
was just that it opened up the. I think the inhaler, the breathing treatment helped because it opened you up more because you were.
I was constricting it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
But anyway, so it was you definitely didn't think that it was. Yeah, I remember you being like, no, I'm not stressed out. I'm like, really? Because there's a lot of stressful things going on right now. No, nope. Mm-mm. But it wasn't, his experience wasn't stress because he was choosing not to allow himself to experience the stress, right? And so um yeah, it was like you were either raging angry or happy,
Hmm.
and you were denying the spectrum of emotions,
Right.
and suppressing your feelings, um, with food,
Yeah.
oftentimes with food,
With ice cream in
espe-
particular.
especially ice cream,
Yeah.
and which actually just
Perpetuated the problem.
exactly, yeah, kept us on this cycle. And I remember whenever we went to that same chiropractor, and she said that you were borderline diabetic, and then we had to pull back on the sugar, on the carbs. And I remember when, like, you had mellowed out, and then you would have a cheat day, and then it'd be like that next day that we get into a huge fight. And I mean, I'm growing and maturing myself. So back then I was just like, see, told you so, which didn't help anything. But you eventually were able to see the pattern yourself.
Hmm.
That would be harder the next day. We usually get into a big fight
Right.
after he would have like a cheat day or something. And then I was gonna rewind a little bit and just go back to your swag and your hip, because I remembered, and I should have like looked over this before we started, but we did. Part of my practice is that I take my clients, and Kingston is one of my more difficult clients, but he's the client I've had the longest. but but one of the things that I do with my clients is the first session is a health history timeline is what we do, the health history session. And so it's a very, very thorough timeline that we take from the time that they were born to the present day. And so I did that with Kingston, and there was so much there. And it was really cool to see it all like laid out in one place, because other
So
than,
cool.
because usually we'd go to the doctor and there's so much in his health history that we'd have to call his mom every time. This is with me taking extensive notes over the years and everything. But it was interesting to me that in your early health, you had chickenpox at 18 months. And he was vaccinated, but he had chickenpox at 18 months, shingles at 4 years old, reoccurring strep from the time he was 6 to age 10. And then at age 10, he had juvenile arthritis. And then next to that, we have like the treatments that he had for each of those conditions. And one of them in particular, I won't name the specific medicine, but it was for his arthritis and it gave him an extremely upset stomach. And it can, I looked up that medicine and it can cause kidney problems. And today there's been so many things that I've brought up, like, I feel like that's a kidney issue. I feel like that's kidney related. And we just, generally speaking, it seems as though, like for instance, Kingston has candida that we've been managing and working through. And whenever we were doing the treatment, initially he was on a pharmaceutical
Antifungal.
grade antifungal. And it just was way too much for his system. His body was unable to detoxify. It was like, unable to eliminate the toxins efficiently, like
Hmm.
quickly enough for that level of an antifungal. And so we had to take him off of that because he was just feeling horrible. He was feeling
Hmm.
horrible. And so I can't say causation, but that does give us clues, right? It does say, perhaps that is what's occurring. The reason I love that so much is because I'm not a doctor. If you want, you can get tests done, and it's great. Like a lot of doctors say, test don't guess. But if you are a part of the healthcare disparity with functional medicine, is that a lot of people can't afford all the tests, and then they can't afford all the supplements, they can't afford all the appointments to see a functional medicine doctor, because oftentimes they don't accept insurance, right?
Right.
And so when we do this thorough health history timeline, we can see clues, right? Not causation. I can't diagnose or say causation, but we can see clues together and just listen to your body, listen to your story,
Hmm.
and say, okay, what are some things that we can do with food and with lifestyle, right? Because it's more affordable, more accessible,
Hmm.
ways that we can, things that are in our control that we can change,
Yeah,
right?
she's a real good detective, y'all.
And Detective, I'm not gonna lie, House was one of my favorite shows growing up. Prior to that, I grew up on ER, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, and now, got a little bit of grays. But anyway,
Those are
um,
all doctor shows. I said you're a good detective.
I know, but they do detective
They
work
do
though. That's
detective
what I
work.
love about the show. Is
Yes.
not, yeah, okay, not the prescription of medicine or the surgery. I mean, it's cool to watch, but that's not my
Yeah.
lane. Yeah. So okay. So, is there anything else that you'd like to share about your experience of learning to listen to your body, learning to listen to your mind, and learning to listen to your soul? Like how the impact of all this throughout your spiritual journey or anything like that.
Um, yeah, I would just really, I really want to encourage people, and I do this often, in saying that we really are connected beings. Like we're connected to ourselves, which is weird to say, but we are. We're connected to ourselves, and we're connected to other people in really incredible ways. And if if I am off emotionally, it's it's hardly ever just an emotional root. Um, there might be some emotional root, but a lot of times it is a physical root. Um, or if I'm off physically, a lot of times it is an emotional root or a spiritual root. So it really is worth learning this. If you are still skeptical and you don't really want to talk to us about it, don't want to ask us about it, there are some really awesome books that we can recommend. There's some really awesome resources that we can recommend that Crystal has recommended a lot before, that can really help you see, as it helped us see, that we are really connected. And there are things that I've taken medicine for, mainly physical pain, that doing the emotional work is far has far superseded the effects of the medical drugs that I've taken. Like the impact on my physical health has dramatically increased, whereas medication just kind of would dull it and dull me and keep me moving, give me the ability to keep moving forward. Doing the emotional work actually makes it so that I want to move forward, and I yeah, I feel better. I feel more whole. So
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing some of your story today.
You're welcome.
I gave him a whole lot of heads up, didn't
A whole lot.
I? So if you have the Clubhouse app, we're going to log off of here and open up the stage there. So if you'd like to contribute to the conversation, you can leave a comment or you can join us over in Clubhouse. If you have not seen our earlier workshops, our earlier videos, we started several days ago with healing from the inside out. Freedom from the inside out was day one. Day two was listen to your body. Day three was listen to your mind. Day four was listen to your soul. And today we're talking about being freedom fighters. So if you would like to be a freedom fighter, if you would like to fight for your own freedom in body, mind, and soul, and you would like some support in doing so, yesterday I opened up the doors to my coaching practice, functional nutrition and wholeness coaching with me through Functional Faith. I would love to partner with you, to walk alongside you, to welcome you into our community. You would have 3 sessions one-on-one with me to help you customize your personal action plan, and from there we would be together in group coaching every week for accountability, education about functional medicine, gut health, hair and skin health, weight loss, blood sugar balance, all of
Yeah.
it. We'll be learning together and building each other up. So yeah, and I showed yesterday that's just $100 a month. Awesome, affordable investment in living your best life. So that's what I have for you today. Join me on Clubhouse. Leave a comment, ask questions, and give us tips of your own that you've experienced. Share your story if you'd like.
Yeah.
All right, go in peace and presence.